Program after program after program done under Democrats, whether it's raising taxes, whether it's proposing programs like cash for caulkers, cash for clunkers, build back better, do not work or generate results far less robust than what they anticipated. And nobody says anything. When's the last time you heard anybody even mention cash for caulkers or cash for clunkers? And I vividly remember in 2008, Senator Barack Obama was running for president. And he promised to increase capital gains tax. And Charlie Gibson, ABC News, said history has shown that when you increase the capital gains tax, you actually generate less revenue. When you lower it, you generate more revenue. Why then raise it at all? And Obama said, well, it could happen, it could not happen. And to his credit, Charlie Gibson asked the question again. And ultimately, Obama said, well, it's a matter of fairness. So if raising the capital gains takes in less money, it's more fair. Number 46.
All right. You have, however, said you would favor an increase in the capital gains tax. As a matter of fact, you said on CNBC, and I quote, "I certainly would not go above what existed under Bill Clinton, which was 28%. It's now 15%. That's almost a doubling if you went to 28%. But actually, Bill Clinton in 1997 signed legislation that dropped the capital gains tax to 20%.
Right.
And George Bush has taken it down to 15%. Right. And in each instance, when the rate dropped, revenues from the tax increased. The government took in more money. And in the 1980s, when the tax was increased to 28%, the revenues went down. So why raise it at all, especially given the fact that 100 million people in this country own stock and would be affected?
Well, Charlie, what I've said is that I would look at raising the capital gains tax for purposes of fairness. But what I also want to make sure is that our tax system is fair and that we are able to finance health care for Americans who currently don't have it, and that we're able to invest in our infrastructure and invest in our schools. And that is irresponsible.
But history shows that when you drop the capital gains tax, the revenues go up.
Well, that might happen, or it might not. It depends on what's happening on Wall Street and how business is going.
Did you hear that? Well, we need to raise the capital gains to have money for investment, money for this, money for this, money for that. But, Senator, history has shown when you raise the capital gains tax, you take in less revenue. When you lower it, you take in more. Well, that may happen, it may not happen. And so he raised the capital gains, and it took in less revenue. Does anybody talk about that? How about Obama's union bailout? It purported to be a bailout of the auto industry, GM and Chrysler. Essentially, it was to bail out the union. Ford went through a regular bankruptcy, came out stronger, and cost taxpayers a great deal of money for what Obama did for GM, some people called it government motors, and Chrysler. Nobody talks about it. So you have a senator candidate, Barack Obama, who ignores history, says he's going to increase the capital gains, and did. It gets lower revenues than otherwise would. He gets a pass. Bill Clinton even lowered the capital gains rate. And then we've got all these other programs.